Hey y'all, what's up? I am back again for another YouTube reaction review. I think this is going to be a review because it's an album. If you can't tell by the title, I am talking about Cakes to Killa, Svengali. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It is his latest album, and I'm a huge fan of Cakes. If you've never seen my face before, my name is Carrington Kelso. I am a musician, producer, director, all around creative who loves music, who loves talking about music, who loves creative things. And so I'm on YouTube to talk about albums and things that I'm listening to. It's just one night or forever, baby, no pressure. I wanted to come onto YouTube to react to this album. I've been waiting for what seems like forever for Cakes to drop some new tunes. I've been listening to him since his like rap ciphers on like YouTube, Twitter, and things like that. And I think that he is definitely somebody who deserves a lot more credit than he gets. He's one of the best lyricists that I've ever heard. His flow is insane. And I wish there were a lot of things that changed in the industry to give him the platform that I'm seeing with, Lil Nas X, Saucy Santana. Not trying to take that from them, but I want him to be in those spaces as well because I believe he is on par with that caliber of talent. So, yeah, we're here to talk about that. I wanted to do this one today because a good friend of mine, the Ism, I'll put his stuff here, reached out to me on Instagram and was like, I'd love to hear you talk about some LGBTQ artists. And Cakes is a queer rapper, and I'm a queer artist, so I will always use my platform to talk about artists that are doing things in the queer spaces because I want to see us win. So without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get into the album, and yeah, let's see what Cakes is giving. Oh, also, before I start, um, so the album's called Svengali. It is 15 tracks, about 29 minutes, just under 30 minutes long. So I'm very interested to see, um, what the album is giving for it to be so short. Title kind of has it. Oh, no, it is listed as an album. Okay, so it's 15 tracks, 30 minutes. Um, a little short, but uh, Cakes never disappoints. So I'm excited to see what he's giving. The first song is called Overture. I don't know if I want to go like song by song and talk about thoughts and feelings, or if I want to just listen to the whole thing and then come back. I think I'm gonna listen to the whole thing and then I'm gonna come back, just to save time in the video. Okay, so maybe I will do it song by song, or maybe not song by song, but like section by section. We'll play it out, play it by ear. So Overture starts the album, and it is just an instrumental. He's not rapping on top of it, and we go for the second track of the album, which is W4TN, which sounds like it is Wild for the Night. Um, and it's giving like sitting in the back of the club, smoking hookah, really talking cash shit. It isn't like as aggressive as I'm used to. Cakes kind of like coming out of the gate and like really just like socking me in the mouth with his flow, with his bars, what he's saying. Like he's saying some real shit. And I want to like deep dive into these lyrics. I want to see like get the overall vision for the album. But right now, I feel like we are on a roller coaster and we're here at the bottom, and it's gonna do, take us up. We're gonna hit a climax, and it's gonna bring us back down. But so far, I'm enjoying it. Like I said, we're only 2 tracks in. So the next song is called Rabbit Hole, and it's only 44 seconds. So maybe it's like a interlude. We'll see. Okay, so Rabbit Hole is definitely giving club again. I feel like Cakes does like queer space, queer clubs. I think about the clubs that I go to here in Atlanta. Um, it gives that atmosphere, but it's also telling a story, which is something I very much appreciate. With an album, I think that artists need to be telling stories, something with their projects, and I think he is doing that. And if we're going, in order. We're now on track 4 with Svengali is about to play. It's like the dramatics of getting to the club, getting being in the club, being in your section or whatever, and kind of like scoping out what's going on. Rabbit hole is that person having the courage to come over and talk to you, get you a drink. And I also think it's a play on like Alice in Wonderland, going down that rabbit hole for the night and seeing what kind of crazy shit you're gonna get into. I'm interested to see because like I've heard the word Svengali, but I have no idea like what it means or if it's like somebody's name. So I want to look that up to see if that provides more context for the album. But this is the title track, track 4. It's pretty early on in the album, so I'm assuming it's going to set the tone for the rest of the project. So let's get into it. Okay, so Svengali is definitely giving. I mean, I feel like the entire album is giving black gay house, kind of what the industry is on, but Cakes has been doing this. I think Beyonce's Renaissance. I think Drake's Honestly Nevermind. Lady Gaga has played with these kind of production styles, and so Cake has been true to his sonic space. There are a couple of things I really like about this title track, specifically the callbacks. There's another song that he has, and I can't think of the title right now, but he says, "I know you're touching me, but are you feeling me?" And that's kind of like the hooky part of this song that he repeats over and over again. So I appreciate that as somebody who listens to his music. There were some weird production things at the beginning, or perhaps mix things that I really wasn't vibing with. The way or the place they had his vocals sitting on top of the track, but the mix kind of fixed itself later on. So I appreciate that. There was also a line in there where he says something like, "I'm celibate because none of you F slurs can top me." And I love this Cakes. This Cakes talking his shit is my favorite Cakes, and so I'm glad we're kind of getting into that. But still, even 4 tracks in, it seems very chill, very laid back. It seems like from the context of the song, when the person comes up to bring him down this rabbit hole, uh, he has this exterior shell of like, I'm not talking to this boy, or like I don't care. And as the night progresses, it's like, maybe I am feeling him a little bit, but is he really feeling me, or is he just touching on my body? And then I like how towards the end of the song they say it's last call. The club lights are coming on, and now where are we going? Are we ended the night here? We exchanging numbers? Or are you coming back to my place? From the title track of the next song, "Love Me Nots," I'm feeling like the person is coming back to Cake's place, but we shall see. So I love the production on this, but more than the production, like I said in previous tracks, I love the storytelling. I feel like so many queer people, women, non-binary, trans people, gay people, lesbians, um, really can relate to this story of, I mean, humans, I guess, can relate to this story of people playing games. Like, do you want to be with me? Do you not want to be with me? Do you care about me? Do you not care about me? There aren't a lot of um, very popular queer artists telling our stories. And so I applaud Cakes for not only talking about this part of like the culture, but also doing it in like a fun, entertaining way. I really just dig this track. I dig the flow, I dig the production. Somehow it sounds lush, but also like lo-fi at the same time. And it just makes me want to like go to the clubs. And I think that is part of the intent behind the album is to like be like we're outside. So "Love Me Nots" is definitely a bop. La Coquina is the next song, and "Mirror Mirror." Both of them are kind of short, so I'm gonna do them like boom boom, and then we can talk about it. Okay, so "La Coquina" uh, and "Mirror Mirror" are 2 songs that have a lot of French in them, and I forget how international Cakes is. He does a lot of European shows. He's always overseas, and so I feel like One, that's a nod to his international fans. Two, La Coquina seems to be telling the story of like that friend. We went out to the bars together. You left with who you left with. I left with who I left with, and now we're catching back up. It seems like a voicemail calling your friend, checking in, like we had a time last night, kind of thing. And I love that. Again, it seems like one continuous evening or like weekend that he's trying to capture. And Mirror Mirror is completely in French, so I know I speak like a little bit, so I couldn't tell you quite what it's talking about, but it sounds sexy. So after that is Drugs du Jour, and let's see what it's giving. Okay, Drugs du Jour seems like one part talking your shit, kind of uh, reflecting and reminding yourself of who you are. It seems like Cake is doing that for himself, but also reminding the people in his community, around his community, of who they are. A moment of self reflection, which makes sense coming right after Mirror Mirror. And it's interesting to me, and this isn't coming from like a place of judgment, just a place of observation. Um, I'm wondering if Cakes is aware of how much drug use goes on within the LGBTQ community, specifically within the Black queer community, and if he is trying to shed a light on that, bring observation to that, or it's just like this is a part of the culture. I'm not shying away from it. I'm not shaming it. This is kind of what we do, and as long as you're safe with it, then we're good to go. I would love to kind of know a little bit more about his thoughts behind that. Drugs du Jour, as far as the song, I think it's a bop. I think lyrically it is in a good place in the album. Again, it's propelling the story that he's trying to tell forward, or that at least the story that I'm inferring from like the lyrics and the flow of the tracks. The production on this one was also kind of interesting. I don't know, like there's something about this that seems very familiar and also strange at the same time, which I love. I love something that keeps me sonically on my toes. Somehow it's um, trance, like it's putting me in a trance, and I love that because it puts me in the world of the album he's trying to build. Um, so yeah, bravo. Track 9 is Gratitude, and it's another short one. So I'm assuming it's giving interlude or another like voicemail or something, but we'll see. Okay, so gratitude seems like a voicemail from the person that either brought cakes home or cakes brought home, and it was a good time. And now they are expressing not only gratitude for the time and their presence, but to be like, I hope we can keep this going on. The next song is Ball and Chain, so I'm assuming it does become something. So yeah, I'm just now interested. I'm very interested in this story now. So this song also sounds very familiar to me, and I'm wondering if he had already released this as a single, or was it like on an EP or something like that? Like lyrically, there's something that is reminding me of something else that he's released before. I like this because I feel like it's very human. Ball and Chain. I feel like, again, sometimes we get a bit afraid of like the unknown, or when something doesn't necessarily feel like what we're used to. From Gratitude to Ball and Chain, it doesn't seem like the person did anything necessarily, unless there's something within Ball and Chain where they were being shady. He mentioned something about acting different at the function, and be careful who you cuffing and who you creeping with. So maybe this person that started the song out has now shown their true colors. But if not, if that is not the case, then I'm wondering if it is a bit of internal, self sabotage. Like, uh, I'm protecting myself from you hurting me by pushing you away in advance. So I would want to listen to Ball and Chain a couple more times to see if I could get a better picture. But overall, I like it. I feel like there's a bit of jazz in the production. I like his flow on this, and as always, like the lyrical content. I appreciate this through thread that we're getting in the song, especially from a rapper, a lyricist. I feel like we don't get it very often. So I appreciate it, Cakes. Sip of my sip is next. Let's see. I forgot to mention at the beginning, Sip of My Sip features Seven Deep as the additional artist on the track. So I definitely think it's a bop. I feel like this is the feeling myself, the flawless, the bow down of this record. It's giving, I remember my power, I remember who I am, and now I'm just talking cash shit. I'm talking about people wanting my energy. They want what's in my cup, and I need to remember that what I have in my cup is golden. So I really love this. I appreciate, kind of like I said, like a roller coaster at the beginning. I think that a lot of us kind of go through seasons or phases of, like, one minute I feel like this, you know, I'm top of the world, and the next minute I might feel like this. And I think it's important for artists to be honest about being in both of those spaces, because nobody feels like $1,000,000 all the time. So, Sip of My Sip is a bop. I enjoy it. The next is a reprise of Love Me Nots, which was the fifth song on the album, and now we're on the 12th. So we are getting down to the wire. So, first of all, I love a reprise. I think they are so important in music, especially when you're trying to convey this cyclical movement. And similar to Sip of My Sip, I think that this is a very vulnerable moment for Cakes. I think that even in the honesty of being like, I'm the shit, sometimes you get behind closed doors and you start to regress to things that are comfortable to you. And Love Me Nots, the reprise, seems to be calling Old Faithful, you know, the little black book, somebody that, you know, you have chemistry with, you know, that the sex is good, but you know, y'all aren't right for each other. And that is what it's giving. And learning that lesson kind of a few times before you are like, how many times am I going to touch the hot stove before I realize the stove is hot? That's kind of what this is giving to me. And I appreciate that because, like I said, I think that a lot of people, not just the LGBTQ community, but specifically because that is the intersection that he's at of being black and queer, go through stuff like this. And so I applaud him for putting it in the music and being honest, like, yeah, I slip up too. Like, you know, I'm not perfect. This is a very human experience. Um, and so I can't do anything but applaud him for putting it in this package. So we got three songs left, and they look like songs. I mean, two of them are kind of short, Sub Song and Climax. Also, really quick, I was going to mention this at the end, but because he was kind of talking his shit in both Sip of My Sip and Love Me Not, so I want to mention it here. I appreciate how sexual Cakes is with his music because growing up, I often only heard sexual music from the lens of heterosexual sex. And so, because that's not the only sex that's out there, I think it is important that our art in our society reflects different types of communities and how they express sexual identities and sexual freedoms and passion, love, and lust. And so I appreciate him for talking the way that I was hearing really a lot of female rappers talking, and that was the closest that I could get to the experience that I was looking for. And now to be grown and to hear a queer artist talking about the things that I am experiencing and going through or have experienced is beautiful. So thank you, Cakes. So 13 is Subsong. So Subsong was a little chaotic at the beginning. Sonically, it's a bit different than anything else on the album. It's very drum heavy. The drums are really pushing the song forward. There's a bit of a callback to the Love Me Nots reprise. And then we get this voicemail from what sounds like the first male voice towards the beginning of the album, the person he met at the club and took home. We tried to make it work. You playing in my face, so you know, get out of here. And the person seems very apologetic, very I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I want to do it with you. And throughout the song or throughout the album, it seems like Cake isn't in a place to receive someone like that. Um, it's giving, it's either a hell yes or a hell no, and I can't have you kind of riding the fence. And this person seems to be like, I don't want to ride the fence. I just don't know how to stop riding the fence, which is a tough place to be in. Like, the relationship could have the potential to grow into something beautiful, but I can't fall in love with potential, which is what Cakes seems to be giving. But I feel like these last two songs will really wrap the project up. So the next song is called Think Harder, and let's see what the response is. Okay, so initial thoughts on Think Harder. I did not like the vocal delivery, but I appreciated the attitude, I appreciated the production, and then in listening to what he was saying, it's like he's repeating the same lines over and over and over again. At the beginning, it sounded kind of like a joke, like, this person's playing in my face, you better watch out, boy, like, don't play with me, kind of thing. And then it seemed to he laughs kind of right in the middle of the song, and then it becomes a more serious plea to me. There's this like tension building with the production of the tracks. You start hearing this like very high pitched string kind of building to what is going to be track 15, the climax of the song or the album. And he's almost like begging, like, think harder before you lose me, don't play these games, think harder before you lose me, don't play these games, like over and over and over again he's saying it. And I think that when artists create tracks or even spaces in tracks when they're repeating lyrics, it's something that I'm trying to convey. This one message is so important that I can't even say any other lyrics. I need you to get this thing. So for that, I do appreciate the track. I just don't know if I am in love with the vocal delivery. Perhaps once it sits with me for a bit longer, it'll grow on me. But the art of the song, I do appreciate what he's conveying, the message he's conveying, I do appreciate. So I like it for that reason. Final track on the album, track 15, is Climax. Hopefully, this is the climax of the album. What an interesting choice. I'm sorry, the sun is crazy. I always seem to film at fucking sunset. Yeah, so climax is it's interesting that he chose to use an instrumental as the closing for the album. It made I mean it makes sense, especially with Overture opening it. It's giving almost like an opera or like one of like a very dramatic stage play. And this is the curtains coming down. The cast has taken their bows, and the show is over. I I appreciate the nuance throughout the album. There were a couple of little references to his previous work. I heard a bit of a Solange reference in one of the songs. I appreciated how black the album was. I appreciated how queer the album was. I appreciated the moments that we got some bars from Cakes, because that's my favorite Cakes, the lyricist. I appreciate the vulnerability in the album. I appreciate the honesty in the album, because I feel like we don't get that very often from rappers. I don't know if this is my favorite Cakes album. I don't know how often I see myself revisiting the entire project. There are songs that I was like saving as I was going. Um, Wild for the Night, Love Me Nots, the original, La Cocaina, Drugs du Jour, Ball and Chain, Sip of My Sip, Love Me Nots Reprise. Those were my favorites off the album. I think the album is very cohesive. I think that it makes a lot of sense. I see the story that he's telling. I just don't know if I'm in that space right now to receive it. I give you, tens across the board Cakes. I love what you do. I love the work that you put in. I feel like it's always a treat when you come back, and I'm proud of you just for keeping keeping the grind going, because you inspire me as a Black queer artist, and I know there are a lot of other Black queer artists that look up to you. I hope you guys will check out the album if you have listened to it already. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't listened to it and you're going to because of me, please, still let me know. It tells me that I'm on the right track with things like this. Please check out the Patreon if you want videos like this early. You want access to like playlists where I start curating some of these songs so you can have them all in one place. Please check out my candle company. If you hadn't seen the previous videos, I have a luxury candle company. This is one of our candles, one of our fall candles. It is 50% soy wax and 50% virgin coconut wax with a crackling wooden wick. This is our fragrance Pressure. It's very masculine. It's a little smoky. It's a little like bonfire-y. It's giving, leaves falling, for any of the masculine energy in your life. But yeah, check that out. I'll put the website below. Please check out my album that is very Black and very queer. It's called First We Fall. I released it on the first day of fall this year, which was September 22nd. And you guys have been showing it so much love, so please check that out. And show Cake some love. Listen to this album, Svengali. And then his album Hedonism is A1, top tier, just bars from start to finish. I love that project. Ism, again, thank you so much for this recommendation, for checking out some Black queer artists. I'm going to do another one in the next video, so stay tuned for that. And as always, I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.